You beat him by a few minutes. But John Gruden ain't at 357. He beat Terry by 3 minutes at 327.
John Gruden, I don't know. But did you see? I know we're going to. This is just. You see that Oakland's been chosen to be on Hard Knocks.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So Terry, if you get bored, you can just subscribe to HBO and watch Hard Knocks. And watch the dysfunction of the Oakland Raiders.
You don't think the Raiders are the favorites in the West?
No.
Who's the favorites in the West?
In the West?
I didn't tell you.
It's not Kansas City. Kansas City won't even make the playoffs.
It's not Denver.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
There you go. We'll run away with that division.
They're Los Angeles now, but yes, they're the Chargers.
Y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers don't have 2 good years in a row. He'll be back. Well, it's not really Phillip. He really does the same thing every year.
Yeah, every year.
It's as always, Terry.
Well,
it's defense, isn't it?
I'm going to tell you where they really hurt when Thomason left them. That hurt the whole organization because you got a good quarterback, you had a running back,
yeah.
And when he left, it took them this long to really come up with another decent running back in their backfield.
Melvin Gordon is not bad.
No, he's not bad. That's what I'm saying. But it's took this long for them to get somebody back.
You know what hurt the Chargers? They drew the Patriots. That's a tough one. And Foxborough. That's a tough one. I chose them, and I'll admit that was a blunder. I didn't think New England was going to go on and win it all, but lo and behold, they did. But, it's hard to win. I'll just leave it at that. I think if they would have pulled anybody else, maybe even if they would have drawn Kansas City in the first playoff game instead of going to Foxborough and playing in New England against Brady, I think they would have won their first round game. But I don't know. The Chargers, they might have the most talent in the league, but we'll see.
Yeah, and their defense has come around.
Derwin James,
so that's helping.
He's a ball player. He's a ball player.
But as far as the rest, and I'll see, we're looking at the NFL.
Are we doing NFL or you want to do NBA?
Panthers had Gerald McCoy this week. Terry was kind of mentioned out with this week. There was a lot of people, here's the team. He said he wanted to play for a winner.
Mm-hmm.
These are the 3 teams that he talked to. Did you know the 3 teams that he talked to?
And didn't he talk to the Ravens?
He talked to the Browns, Ravens, and Panthers.
The Browns, if he wanted to talk to a winner, would have been the best place for him to go.
He wanted to talk to a winner.
I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy given their history, but they're going to probably have the better record out of those 3 this year.
Probably.
And if he's wanting to make a playoff run, that would have been the best team for him to be on. Even if it is just a wild card, you make it.
But for him not to go there, why would he go to? I mean, it's like to me like he chose the latter of the 3.
And what concerns me, I would calm down as far as if I was a Panthers fan. They only gave him a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Like nobody else was willing to give him more than 1 year. And
he
only talked to 3 teams, so
we got like a undisclosed injury that no one's talking about.
Maybe he takes plays.
Like why is the reason Tampa Bay didn't want to re-sign him? He probably is their best defensive player.
And they replaced him with Ndamukong Suh, who everyone knows is an attitude problem, and gave McCoy Suh's number. So maybe a red flag for McCoy. Like there's a lot of things I think
a lot. And this is what's so crazy is I don't think people are looking that deep because, like you said, it is strange because Gerald McCoy can play. He's a Pro Bowler. He's been one of the top defensive tackles in the NFC South. So the fact that he only got 3 teams to talk to him, 2 of them have had losing seasons really the past 2 years. Well, okay, Baltimore never mind. They made the playoffs last year, but 2 of them I think will have worse seasons this year than they did last year, and I'm pretty sure he must have gotten the same deal everywhere. He just decided to come back to the NFC South with the Panthers. Because if you mean to tell me you would have chosen a 1-year deal over maybe a multiple-year deal, unless that's all he was looking for.
I mean, did he want to stay closer to the South because that was closest to? He's got people in Tampa, in the area, family and everything, but maybe don't want to move away from the
Where is he from?
I'm not sure.
I think he said Carolina was actually not far from his home.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, I can always type it in the Googleplex, but
yeah.
The 1 year thing is kind of it just makes me kind of wonder. Did he want to play? Would you want to play the Bucks that bad that you're just going to be like, hey, let me get?
I know. Do you have that much animosity towards them? Why you gave them all you had? You can't help that their front office just wasn't able to put the pieces around you. But now,
is it a Cleveland Baltimore thing, and I don't want to go to that division.
He's an Oklahoma boy.
Oh, he is. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess he just wanted to stay in the South, like you said. I don't know.
Well, like he might have, like I say, he might have all family in Tampa. It's easy, short, easy flight from Charlotte down there, or from Tampa to Charlotte, however he wants to do it. But maybe that's the case. Who knows? He, maybe got the most money for their 1 year. He's trying to prove himself. We'll see. Good luck for the Panthers. That everybody's, the safety position for them is a worry, and I've always, Terry, since Darren Woodson retired, you got to have a good safety back there. All the good defenses, unless. Even when excellent defenses usually have a good safety. I'm going to put it that way. You can have a good defense with a good front seven and a solid defensive backfield. But if you got that good safety back there, that just changes everything.
Well, it changed everything in the quarterback's mind. Because if he's having to throw, and if I'm the first person out dropping back and I'm trying to read that safety of where he might be going, then I'm throwing to the opposite side. I'm not going to put it in the same pressure that he can take either my receiver out or intercept the ball of me not thinking of where I'm throwing.
A lot of people like to say, "Oh, that cornerback's got that whole side of the field shut down." No, he doesn't.
No,
if that whole side of the field is off limits, it's because of the cornerback and who's over top of that cornerback.
That's
why a lot of people didn't like throwing over whichever side Earl Thomas was on, because Earl Thomas was going to make a play.
Yep.
Same with Cam Chance. That's why the Legion of Boom was so good, because you didn't want to throw on either of them. You didn't want to throw whichever side Richard Sherman was on, and they could flip-flop whichever side they wanted to put Thomas and Cam Chancellor. So I like – a lot of people tend to say the safety position is a dying position because a lot of them cheat up and kind of add on to the linebacking core. Like they're kind of a hybrid now. I think the safety still is important, because if you've got a burner on the offensive side of the ball that's a wide receiver, someone that in one move can get past the cornerback, that safety automatically knows that that's where I've got to be. I have got to be there to give backup, because they're going to try and put it over the top, and I have to just at least get a fingertip on it.
Yeah. Safeties are, you talk about, say they're dying. Pretty much that's the best. I might say you can make an argument it's the best athlete on the field.
Could be.
Safeties and corners.
They got to tackle like linebackers, cover like DBs, run backwards and forwards just as fast as anyone else on the field. Have to know the defense, have to know the offense.
They can make a name for themselves. If you're good, people are going to know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's in any. It's
because the safety,
high school up, college.
Because the safety, if you think about it, you can almost compare them to just an outfielder in baseball. They're there just to track down a fly ball.
And they might not be able to catch that, because
that's what I'm saying. They might not.
Their own defense.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Cornerbacks and safeties, most of the time, are wide receivers that can't catch.
And how many receivers have you always heard in the past who says, "I don't want to go into your route through the middle on account of the safety taking me out"?
Mm-hmm. Earl Thomas. Yeah. He's taking someone's head off.
Jack Tatum. Some people that's played that position know how to play it, and a lot of people would never want to go in their position where they get that shot.
Okay, I'll take back. It's maybe not a dying position. It's more of an undervalued position. I think that's what I meant. Because they're
not going to get paid as much money as a
corner,
position,
and they're not going to get paid as much as a corner when at the same time they're the one who's got the corner's back, who's making sure, the corner might look a little bit better because I'm back here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Terry, name me your 4 greatest, most important Panthers in team history.
4?
Yeah, name me the 4. The Panthers.
Sam Mills.
We're going to talk about their Hall of Honor. He's already there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I want to be. Sam Mills was good. He was better when he was in New Orleans. People don't remember. He was over the hill, actually, and I would say in Carolina. I don't like a little bit how they've monetized him. his memory and stuff. A lot of that is monetized, the keep pounding stuff. As long as all that money's going where it should be going. They did an interview, a few when I think it was when Tepper just bought the team. They was interviewing people out on the streets and asking them about the Panthers. They were standing next to the Sam Mills statue interviewing people, and nobody knew who he was. It just kept coming by, and that's what we're talking about, Panther statues and honors. The old regime, Richardson, them, they cut all the players before that. They were trying to do Patriot style football and cut all these players, and before they were quote unquote done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's put a lot of, like, Steve Smith has bad taste in his mouth, and so just brought up a lot of questions about this. So I think Sam Mills is already there, Terry, but we're gonna put him there, and he's
Steve
got a
Smith,
statue out there.
I
So
would
Steve
put
Smith,
yeah. Luke Kuechly.
he ain't
I mean,
retired,
I know
though.
that. I mean, are we talking to retire?
Yeah,
or play?
we're putting Ring of Honor. You're putting the first four
Okay.
Panthers in a Ring of Honor.
Luke Kuechly. I mean, I think he's going to be one of those.
No, he don't count, Terry.
We
Right
don't-
now,
we're
we
not
can't
taking
put him right
pos-
now.
Well, you just got through saying we're going to put him in the Ring of Honor. So
No, he said he's got.
gonna
They
put
have to be
Today.
retired. They have to be
They
retired.
said, Terry, go up there and put 4 names in the Ring of Honor. You can't put someone on the field.
Well, I mean, when you go from there, then I'm going to have to think otherwise. And a lot of people's probably going to say there's no way, but in their Ring of Honor, I'd go Jake DeLone.
He's one of the inductees.
So,
Now, why on Delholm?
why?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the guy that led them to the Super Bowl. I mean, you always have to put in place a guy that took you where you're supposed to be, that gave you a chance.
What about the guy who led them to the NFC Championship game? Has better stats than the guy who led them to the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to stick them in there.
So no AFC Championship game Ring of Honor. So no Danny Whites, no Chad Penningtons, no Mark
Nope.
Sanchez's.
No.
So none of those for
I mean,
Terry
if somebody would put Mark Sanchez, I mean, he's only known for one thing.
Butt fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what comes to my
Well, that
mind
could
when
be
you
his
say Mark
logo. Dallas
Sanchez.
has Tom Landry's got the hat. They just have a booty or something.
I mean, who
For
was the
Sanchez.
first baseman for the Chicago Cubs that died? Buckner.
That's the Red Sox.
I mean, Red Sox, yeah, him. But, I mean, he's known for missing a play.
do you know the other
against
two?
the Mets.
Do you know the
No.
other two that
No.
were inducted? Okay, I was just going to
No.
see. You got 2 of them. So you're two for 2 right now. Sam Mills is already there. So who would be the other 2? Quit looking over there, Terry. Don't act like you can read.
Yeah.
Like you can read.
Gerald Willis.
Gerald Willis. You mean Gerald Wallace of the Bobcats? He is not
Gerald
in the Panthers Ring of Honor.
No, I have no idea.
How about Jordan Gross? And the next one shocked me. I like him. I'm not saying anything's wrong with him, but I would not. If I started naming 10 players, it'd be a while before I got to him. But, I mean, maybe you could look at the stats. Wesley Walls was named. Now, he was very important to those teams, especially like I was talking about with the guy that made the NFC Championship, Kerry Collins, and the switch over to Delhomme. Walls there early on with Delhomme.
I'll tell you
No,
something.
these are the guys that's inducted.
These
These
are the new 4 that Tepper's putting in.
Okay.
This is Tepper's.
Well,
4.
Tepper is doing a big slap in the face to a guy who just retired, and not saying unless he's going to do it, then let
Hold on,
him
before
let
you
him
say
be
it,
retired for a few
I'm
years.
writing
Go ahead,
down.
write it down, because you know exactly what I'm going to talk about.
Go.
It's Julius Peppers.
No, that ain't who I was talking about.
What?
No, that ain't who I was talking about.
It's Julius Peppers was an absolute freak.
Now, he
for
should be,
them.
but-
He
but-
should be.
But I don't know if is he totally retired. I mean, he's not. Retired, is he?
Yeah, I thought he came out last year and did a whole thank you for the game.
Well, I
I'm
wonder
going
if that was-
to step away.
Said you never know when the Patriots might call him in Week 16 this year. Like, hey, we
So
need
I need
a pass rusher.
I'll be there.
You want a ring, Bob? Somebody might. It's not like Peppers. Peppers ain't the guy that's going to be out of shape here in a few.
No.
He seems to me
No.
like he's a workout warrior. And all.
Because how old was he last year?
If you got that
Or
much
the year
weight and
before?
muscle on you your whole life, and you just
Because
he just stopped working out.
He was
got
still
fat so
the way that they
How
used.
old is he? Really?
I was about to say because
37, 38?
the way they used him, he would usually come down in a third
His hair
down
made him look
situation.
older than he was. Is what the problem was.
Yeah, that was kind of gray.
Uh,
And that's bad when we're sitting here saying you're old and you're 37 or 38 years old.
Well, football terms.
Yeah.
He's 39.
Okay,
Okay, that's old.
I guess you're old.
Defensive end, Terry. They don't play as long
But
as
I mean, you know,
he can't be out there as long as Brady.
I say he's not Brady.
Herschel Walker could be out there probably right now, playing a backup running back role.
I think somebody like that would be perfect for you on third down.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's how they used him this past year. Was he would come down in select moments. He wasn't starting. He would come out there and he would still get to the quarterback.
Oh yeah.
He'd still get to the quarterback. 39 years old. He knows offensive linemen were like, man, you gonna let that old man whoop you right now?
Yeah, that old man said, I've been playing for a while and I know a lot of moves.
I know a lot of moves. I know a lot of tricks.
That's right.
That's when that other lineman he says, "Yo, you seen his?
I'm gonna
You
beat
seen a picture of him with his
what
shirt
I
off?
know.
Yes, he's whipping me right now."
That's right.
You know how athletic he is? My man play basketball.
So Wesley Walls was the other one, Terry. All right, let's Hunter. Let's see if we can. My greatest Panther ever is on this sheet of paper. Now I'm taking that back. Now since Peppers came back to the Panthers, I would might say he's probably the greatest Panther ever.
Mm-hmm.
But he did get caught with steroids, so that puts a knock on him, or was involved in the steroid scandal for the Panthers. My greatest Panther ever, Hunter.
Mine's on that list too.
Read it. I'm 100% serious about this too.
I mean, he won him a lot of games.
Who is it?
It's John Casey. He was a great kicker.
His name should be on the Ring of Honor at some point.
He wasn't even in.
Until Cam won
this time?
MVP and Peppers came back, I could argue that he was the best Panthers ever because Steve Smith hadn't retired yet. Peppers had moved on. Cam hadn't won MVP. I've got John Casey as the best Panther ever up until then, as far as career-wise.
You know, you're right. Mine, I would have went with Steve Smith. He would have been second.
Steve probably is.
Yeah.
Steve and Peppers are the best too. Of course, obvious best football players ever. Steve's probably the greatest Panther ever, probably now. But him and Peppers, I got 1-2 right now. And Casey, up until like I said, 4 years ago, I put that in number one.
You never want him to come into a game and all he has to do is hit a 55-yard field goal because he's probably going to hit it.
But the year Dale Holm won the Super Bowl,
know.
I think they won 9 games by 4 points or less, something like that. And he had,
And then see, it really got me when Carolina decided to get rid of him.
yeah, they just cut
John
him.
Casey.
Yeah.
John
I never
Casey
did understand that at all.
at that time how we talk about Vinatieri and Gostkowski. When they're there, it's automatic.
Well, that's
very rarely do they miss. It's automatic.
Well, remember what I was saying, Terry, about that getting rid of Casey and stuff is that, they got rid of him and Steve, and then Cam wins the MVP. Is that was getting rid of, hey, this, like I said, I could make the case that the kicker was the best player in franchise history. You got to cut that guy at some point, so he's not getting all the credit instead of Cam. Because what do the Panthers do? They win by 3, they win by 4, they win by 5.
There's no
If that's the
bonus
same.
in
If
that.
that's Casey and they're kicking all these past few years, he's keep getting more and more and more and more credit. He's getting that Vinatieri type credit at some point with that. So they get rid of him. Cam gets the credit, but I just think poor Caden, they cut him out. Like you said, I think they cut him early. But and in the Super Bowl, he'd already hit how many field goals before that ball went out of bounds? He didn't give up 30-something points on defense.
That's just true.
He didn't
Yeah.
give up 50 yards on that drive.
He kept him in the game, and then the Patriots just kicked the field goal to win.
So I think Casey at some point needs to be on it. So if you're going to put my next 4, Terry, you're saying, well, I'll give you Kuechly since you want to put him in right now. But my next 4 that they don't have in would be Luke, Peppers, Casey, and do you have a 4th, Muhammad? Would you go
Muhammad?
Would you
I
go
wouldn't.
Kevin
I
Green?
wouldn't. See, there's tough too. I mean, Kevin Green.
I don't
He
think he's
produced
on
when he
yet.
was
Just in case
there,
Panthers fans listen, I get
but-
that wrong.
I don't know whether I'd go Green. I'd have to keep thinking and looking at who they've had in their past. Green's name is going
Chris
to stand
Jenkins?
out to you.
Muhammed's not a bad name. That's not
Terry
bad.
Collins, Terry.
Well, I even thought about Kerry Collins a while ago.
Well, that's what I said about the
I mean-
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about him a while ago, but I mean, I didn't stick him in there. because
How about
I-
Chris Winkie?
Well, if we're going to put honorary people, the best-selling jersey
Should it be 4?
Well,
I mean,
don't know. I was just
who made
running
that
4.
choice that it should be 4?
I was just doing 4 because they did 4. If you want to do
Yeah.
3, we can do 3. If that
You
makes you
know.
happy. Throw Jerry Richardson in there as the fourth one.
I mean, I think I sit back and I look at.
I mean, NFL will lose its mind, but yeah.
Here's my problem with everybody introducing too many people. That's like baseball. Sometimes it might be 2, sometimes it might be 3. The next thing is 7. You know, all right, I'm with that. I understand that. But you have to have somewhere along the line that you don't try to induct 4 or 5 or what. Nobody's going to come to your show to watch it.
Well, what do you want to do?
In.
You want to just induct? I mean, I'm not against this. Maybe you just induct one a year. For at least little ring of honors. Now it's different when it's Hall of Fame. Like, yeah, if you want to have the class, you can't have a class of one person. It's just he showed up. You know
Your
what I'm
Hall of
saying?
Fame NASCAR has so many people going in at year. They're gonna run out of people.
Well, Terry, what I'm thinking, NASCAR. What NASCAR's trying to do is get in all the old folks before they move on and pass out, because they gotta honor all the old folks. I think what Tepper's doing here with the 4, I don't think they're going to be naming 4 every year and stuff like that.
No, I think it's a good base.
I think he is doing what Richardson and them wouldn't, is honor these players. Because you got all these are people that Steve Smith was cut, Dale Holm was cut. I don't know. I think Gross retired. I'm sure Walls was cut too, I would imagine. I mean, all these people. And then the next line, Peppers was cut or traded at some point, and they cut Casey. So, you know, maybe it's a fan thing with Pepper.
Yeah,
You got to remember
really
this is his first few years. He's got to do a lot of fan type stuff while he tries to take your money from you.
Yeah.
You gotta
come see our Ring of Honor. Pay me money.
But I don't mind any of them. I like Wesley Walls. I just don't know if I'd have him in over John Casey at all, and maybe even Kerry Collins. Collins was the one throwing in the balls. Would you put Novacek in over Aitman? I mean, you know what I mean? Like
No.
Or Tony Gonzalez, would you put his quarterback in over him? Or I don't know. You look at it different ways.
Who
I guess.
was Tony Gonzalez's quarterback?
A bunch of people. Elvis Gerber.
I was about to say.
At one point.
He just like throw it to me. I don't.
In his final years, I mean, it was Matt Ryan.
Trent Green was there for a while.
Yeah, Matt Ryan was his last quarterback. Might be the best one he's had in his career.
All right, JP, we got to take a break. You ready in there? All right, Saturday morning sports. God, it looked like a 12-pound hamburger he had over there. That's a big old biscuit. All right, folks, we'll be back in just a few minutes. KTCBroadcasting.com.